When I found out about the New Zealand experience, it's more about why not? Because it's New Zealand and I'm qualified because of my because of what I finished in college. So what's holding me back? So let's just go for it.
The first time I heard about New Zealand was when my teacher in college invited me to come to the seminar, and she just passed by our school and asked if there was a preschool teacher who was interested to go to New Zealand. I started with passing my NZQA, so I passed my documents to Uniwide, and then they said that it would take 3 months to get the NZQA results. But actually, for my papers, it took only about less than 2 months, I think.
The high points would be through the agency, because pretty much I didn't really know how to go through the papers, the documents, and actually what comforted me was I know of people that have gone through the agency, and especially like upper batches, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. I was thinking like if they've gone through this and they trust this agency, then maybe it could work for me as well.
Uniwide won't pressure you. It's in your own pace. So the first step, you give your papers and then you wait. And the next step, they say, oh, you need the next set of documents. And then, so they're pretty helpful in giving you the steps towards this pathway.
Education personnel looked for a homestay for us. So they picked us up at the airport, and then they took us to the homestays where we are staying right now. I'm living with a Kiwi now, and she's really been great because she's taking us around everywhere in the city, and she's been telling us about the culture of the Kiwis.
I was the one who does my own laundry. I was the one who do my cooking and waking up in the morning and stuff. So basically it's really adjusting to like household chores.
The people, they're very accommodating. When you walk out, people will say hi, how are you, and then good morning, which is very unusual in the Philippines.
I've come to realize that New Zealand is not a European country, it's more of a multicultural country, so they really respect each and every culture. You could see that everyone has a right to speak out, and everyone has a say in everything, even if you're new to the country or been here for a long time. Before getting a permanent job, relief teaching is good too, because you get to know how the center is. It's not like you apply and then you end up not liking it. So, but in relief teaching, you get to know the staff, the children, and how their center works. So at least you get an idea how they are. So that's how I actually got my permanent work.
So you started off as a volunteer?
Yep, and then somewhere along the way, before I even finished my volunteer work, to get a news from the Ministry of Education that somehow I don't need to work as a volunteer anymore, and that I can really work as a qualified one, which is a really, really big and great news for me.
We have been sent to different parts of Wellington, so it's really hard to establish like rapport and connections with the kids. So basically when you relieve and the kids don't really know you, it's like even if they know that you're a teacher, they don't really listen to you, because like they test like, are you really a teacher, or they won't really follow you right away. It's really hard because you had to get used to the routines of the schools and things like that, and the culture as well.
We start from babies, sometimes 3 months up to 5 years old, but they are separated into 2 groups, the over 2s and the under 2s. So dealing with them is very different. It's just like you're at home with 25 kids of your own, taking care of them, feeding them, playing with them.
The sensors are focusing and using play as a for everything, like to teach children the numbers, colors, and everything. They use it or integrate it in play so that they can discover it on their own,
Right,
on their
yes.
own experiences.
They have a part where they can have messy play. So they just put paint on the table and then they can be very messy, and that's really allowed because that's the only way they can explore. They value exploration and discovery in their own ways rather than giving them worksheets and then answering alphabet or math or science.
The kids are taking their time when it comes to learning. You don't force them to learn a subject or a skill. You could incorporate it through playing or even the simplest thing like asking questions and using their senses, because most of the time they have messy play, which for us Filipinos are very different, because when your kid is doing a messy stuff, you say, no, it's dirty, but actually here, yes, it's fun and you will learn from it.
Unlike in the Philippines, a teacher is always a teacher, the same in any level. Like what are expected of her. Mostly it's academic based. So it's mostly about learning stuff, like learning all the things that they have to learn before they enter the primary school. But here it's more on basic skills that the children needs to know, or we're trying to replace somehow the moms, like what they do with the kids, not like teaching them all the things like letters, numbers, colors. It's mostly how to take care of them.
When you go here, I think the best thing that you can take with you is an open mind and your flexibility. If you're not willing to adjust to the culture, if you're not willing to make room for like adjustments in your personality and stuff, you'll get really stressed out.
We're just lucky that we've worked with a good agency from the Philippines and here in New Zealand.
Just go for it because it's like play the whole day, but at the same time just be aware of the other teaching duties, because as a teacher there, it's like you're also a mother to them in the aspect that you have to prepare their snacks, you have to change their nappies or their diapers, what we call them back home. You also have to clean up. They don't have janitors or janitors. The children there just run around and play. So you can't tell them to stop, sit down, here are some books, answer. So you have to really extend your patience. And of course you have to get used to their accent.
It's really hard to work so far from your family and all, but when you see like the potential or the opportunities that you can get from working here, especially in this kind of setup, like how lots of opportunities for preschool teachers right now really are really amazing right now here in New Zealand. So it can sort of balance everything. So it's a risk, but make sure that's something that's worth taking, especially when you have to spend a lot of money and do a lot of time in working out and getting all the qualifications that you need and all the paperwork and all. So yeah, it has to be something really sure about.